Welcome to the First Media Consulting Podcast, The Business Chronicles, where we dive deep into the stories of successful business owners. Here's your host, Didi and Nicholas. Thanks for joining today. Let's talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I am just so excited to introduce to you Will Ramsey. He's the owner of Frontline Inspections, and he's got a lot of good information to kind of share with us about his business and some advice for entrepreneurs as well as people trying to start a business, in the future. How you doing, Will?
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks so much for asking. Let's dive right into it and kind of give our audience, our listeners, a little bit of a background of who you are.
Oh, I appreciate that. First of all, thanks for having me on. It's certainly an honor just to have the opportunity to kind of share our story and how we're impacting the community here in Central Florida. So super appreciative of that. Thanks. A little bit about me. I'm from Ohio, born and raised. Joined the military out of high school. Got out, moved here to Florida because it was an attractive state with lots of beaches, in which I was super excited to be around. And then kind of went through a couple of small business ownership opportunities when I lived in the Jacksonville market, and then transitioned to the Orlando market. About 10 years ago, got into some insurance adjusting, and then had a friend, recommend that I do, residential and commercial building inspections. And I looked at it, dove right in 2 feet first, and 10 years later, here we are with a really awesome business that has a huge impact here in our Central Florida market. We help a lot of friends, families, and neighbors, and we really enjoy doing that. Married with 4 kids. So we do this all for them. And at the end of the day, it's being able to give them something that necessarily I didn't have as a child. So that's what this is all about for me.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much for sharing that. It's awesome to hear, different stories and different backgrounds on different business owners and kind of understanding their journey, if you will. So let's dive into learning about your business. What do you do?
Well, like I said earlier, we are a commercial and residential property inspection company. A majority of our business does exist in the real estate space, whether they be new construction homes, new construction commercial projects, or existing homes and existing buildings. But a majority of that does exist in the real estate space throughout purchase and selling. But we also have a lot of clients who bring us in under renovation circumstances to where we can do quality assurance, quality control checks for the trades that are performing these renovations. So for us, it's a really good opportunity to be widely involved in the real estate and commercial and residential construction industry, and really be a consumer advocate to make sure that people are getting what they pay for, their investments are protected, and at the end of the day, protecting their financials by making sure that they're not going to be liable for issues in the future.
That's interesting. And there are so many different industry changes for different businesses, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, it always happens. Are there any type of trends that are happening in your industry?
Yeah, we've seen a real marked shift in the residential real estate, really in all real estate transactions here in Central Florida, which does have an impact on our business. But we are adept to our community and we are adept to our market, and we've been able to adjust some of our offerings and our availabilities to meet the market demand, and to broaden our spectrum in services that we provide. So one of the primary things that folks think about, with a home inspector, us being directly impacted by the housing market here in Central Florida, and not knowing the interest rates or not knowing housing values and things like that. What we've been able to do is just strengthen our relationships with our local vendors and partners, build some new opportunities, and go out and seek new resources in order to garner more attention and serve our community in a larger capacity. So for us, it's been a wonderful growth opportunity through a changing market where many folks are really struggling, and we've been able to thrive, which has been fantastic.
I like how you use the two words, strengthen relationships. And that's so powerful in business, because without good relationships, your business is not going to, go to the next level or become successful. How important is that? Like you mentioned, how important is that?
Well, I'm a huge advocate for the small business. I truly believe that the small business is the pillar of success in every community. And in that space, it's super important that all the vendors and the small business owners are cooperative in that space so that we all thrive, not just survive, but we all thrive. And so I've been a huge advocate for small business owners right here in the Central Florida market. We endorse a variety of different vendors and small business owners that produce a quality product and that are reliable, dependable, and have proven themselves year after year, client after client. In that space of making sure that we succeed, we're able to help others succeed, which therefore promotes the small business initiative in our market.
That's well stated. Let's talk about challenges. Every business is faced with challenges. Any come to mind that you've experienced?
Yeah, there's been a few over the years. One of the biggest things that stands out to me as a small business owners, we live and die by our past clients and their reviews. And so, as any small business owner could imagine, one negative review is usually enough to deter tens, if not hundreds, of people from potentially choosing us as a partner or a vendor in their inspection needs or their project needs. And so, for us, what we've forced ourselves into is a space of continuing to rely on the relational aspects of our community partners and vendors. And then if we make a mistake, then we own up to it. We step into a space of ownership. We step into a space of reconciliation. We chase making things right. If someone is unhappy, it is our goal that regardless of what our outcome is as a business, that our client feels like they have been served to the fullest from our company. And I feel like when you are willing to stand up and take responsibility for mistakes, and you're willing to stand, really, for lack of better terms, on the front line and say, we're willing to put our needs and our desires and our agenda aside to make sure that you're well cared for, people react well to that. And people tend to gravitate towards people and businesses that are willing to put themselves on the line to make sure things are done right and followed up with correctly.
Very true, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. That is awesome. There's going to be a number of listeners here that are wanting to be aspiring entrepreneurs, right? They want to start their own business. Any advice that you could give them in wanting to start their own business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that human nature is afraid of is that we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to fail in our personal lives. We're afraid to fail in our professional lives. And then in that failure, we're afraid for other people to see it. And what I can honestly say is over the years, the businesses that I've owned or attempted to run or start and have failed, I have failed and lost more than most people have ever even considered trying. And so while the heartbreak in failure is very difficult, I have found great success in learning from the lessons in my failure. I have a saying that I like to say is, I like to be wrong because it helps keep me humble. And in that humbleness, we learn a lot. And so if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're looking to start a new business, I would just encourage you to take the leap and don't be afraid of failure, because more often than not, failure will lead you into where you're meant to be. And that's really how we got to where we are today.
And like you said, it makes you stronger. And I always come up with failure is not an option, right?
Yeah.
If you really, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, I have a wife and 4 kids. And, like I said at the very beginning, my mission for this has always been about them. And so for me, failure isn't an option. And so one of the things I have done is, not just as a business owner here at Frontline, but as an entrepreneur and as a whole, is we've broadened our spectrum and we've allowed multiple businesses and multiple offerings to come to the table for us. And we've done that and impacted not only our family well, but our community well with our multiple offerings from our umbrella company. So one of those things is not being afraid to fail has also forced us into a space to set up a backup. And so in the event that Frontline Inspections fails, we have other options and we have other opportunities to help our family and our community continue to succeed, even in the event of failure in one of our businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Very good. Such good information. And I definitely appreciate you being on here. And if you could please provide your phone number as well as your website for our listeners to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Frontline Inspections will be at www.frontlineinspections.us. Our direct office line 407-223-2928. And you can schedule via phone, text, email, or our website. We have all of those options available for info and contact.
Will, thank you so much for being part of this. And I'm so excited to be able for you to share with our listeners your journey. And hopefully we'll have you back in the near future.
We look forward to it. I appreciate the time, and we look forward to seeing you guys again.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.